So how about we welcome to the stage, Dave Filoni.
Good, it's been a busy morning. Animation team, and I love the work that I've done there. And I think very often in someone's career or in the public, they think like, well, there's live action, there's animation, and they try to assign some value to these things. I don't see them as very different at all. The thing that's different is the type of medium that it is. It requires a different type of eye when you do them, but it's all just Star Wars to me. And the team that I work with in animation is a wonderful team. I think they've done some of the very best Star Wars stories that have ever been told. And, when I saw what Brad, Jen, and Athena have been doing in Bad Batch and how good the show looks, I'm like, well, I wanted that in Clone Wars. Why does it look like that now? Mine looked like Atari 2600 when it started. Now you got snow and trees, and I'm like, so I'm gonna write something so I can play with those toys.
There's so much atmosphere now.
That's how it happened. Oh yeah, it's amazing. They do a great job. So that's the gist of it. Good question. I'll be more forthcoming about this because I've been cagey all day about other stuff.
We lucked out. It's the right time.
I'll tell you a little more, and this will hopefully get really exciting. I wanted to explore some characters, and I wanted to set some things down on them and really base them on ideas that I thought about over the years making Clone Wars, and I thought, well, making these shorts would be a great way to frame up some of these characters for stories that I wouldn't do as a whole episode or a whole series, but I'll do them as shorts. And so I chose Ahsoka, of course, because how am I not?
I'm shocked to hear.
Yeah, I know. People go, I hear it's funny telling more Ahsoka stories. I'm like, yeah, well, I create characters, they're tough one. That's what I do. I like her, and I know that I can control what she's doing because I've, raised her since she's 14. So she's done some strange things, but we get there in the end. And then the other character that I chose that I've always been interested in was Count Dooku.
Ooh.
I think other people are interested in that too. It sounds like.
There he is. So I wanted to see, because something I've been really fascinated by that I don't know that everybody grasps in Attack of the Clones and what the Jedi are talking about is he was a Jedi. And that's so important to understanding how all the politics unfold in the prequel era. He was one of them. And you could argue that many of the things that he decides to do, he does for the right reasons. And that's the massive trap that Sidious has set for everyone and how he sucks you into his side of things. And so the two characters really show you two paths and two choices, and there are three stories each that kind of unfold how Ahsoka's life unfolds and Dooku's life unfolds, and ultimately what their ends are, having been trained both by the Jedi Order, but having dramatically different outcomes as characters. And also, with Dooku, it meant that I could put this guy on screen, which was super fun. So.
Did you know that Qui-Gon Jinn is my favorite Jedi?
A young Qui-Gon.
Oh, that's right. He trains him.
Qui-Gon's one of the best, and in some ways the most interesting Jedi, I think, because of his philosophy, which is different from the Jedi Council. And where did he learn that, if not from his mentor, Count Dooku? And who is his mentor? Right? So it's interesting to track these things through master and apprentice relationships, which is something that I'm very interested in all my work, is this idea of passing on what you've learned, mentors, people coming into their own, and the effect that relationship can have, which is also very parental in nature as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to see, because we do see Qui-Gon, he questions things, he does not necessarily go along with everything the council says, and to have that connection to Dooku and to see it explored, that's super exciting.
Well, his ego's not there because everyone tells him, just as the council said to be on the council, I'll do what I must. Like, he doesn't worry about those things because he's trying to get to the selfless truth of things. Everything that Qui-Gon's trying to do is, he's not afraid to love because he does not possessively love. And that's something that the Jedi of the prequel era have kind of, in their involvement in politics, have forgotten. It's faded. And Yoda says as much, that he's worried about how the Jedi have become in the prequels. So it's all very interesting, and I obsess over all those things. I thought the prequels were showing us Star Wars on such a deep, meaningful level, and it's always impacted me that way. And then, of course, I got to kind of test that knowledge working with George, and it was just as deep as I had imagined it to be working with him and the knowledge he has of all these things and story ideas. So
it's really cool. And I gotta ask, I'm so excited to see Qui-Gon, a younger Qui-Gon. Can you tell us who's voicing Qui-Gon?
I can.
I was waiting. I'm like, I think you can tell us.
I can. And you're asking me that, and I'm sitting here and I wonder if I agreed earlier to tell people.
Oh no.
Voice, did I?
I was told I could ask. So.
You were told you could ask.
I said yes. So I feel okay.
That doesn't help me. Because of course you can ask. Of course you can ask. Why wouldn't you ask? It's a very interesting question. That's the most devious way that someone's ever put this on a panel to me. I was told I can ask. That's like when they send children up here to ask me questions. It's frightening. Looking at 10 years old eyes and saying, no, I can't tell you. I mean, I don't know. Well, all right, I'll tell you a bit of it.
I will.
This guy, you don't even know. This guy is Liam Neeson.
Woo!
But there's tricks to it.
Right. Yes, but it's not.
But it's not just him. Because of the younger version, I thought it'd be neat because Star Wars is such a family thing. I like family involvement. I had his son play. I thought a special day for everybody. It was great to see Michael and them come together, and we had a great time portraying this. And it was great. You see how much people love being a part of Star Wars. Every time I work with somebody that's been a part of it, that's always reflected. And it's just a wonderful opportunity when you're one of the storytellers to get to create opportunities for people to continue. So it's cool. And now we'll find out if it's right for me to do later.
Yeah, but I will take the hit for that if it's not. It's my bad. But he probably made everyone here really happy.
If it's not, it's your bad.
Okay, it's on me. I take it.
Yeah.
This is take 115. I'll let you know how that
I think it's
turns out.
cool. It's fine. It's cool.
It's fine. It's fine. So,
fine.
Dooku, Qui-Gon, exploring that side, of being a Jedi Knight.
And also fun. I see this image up here. There were 6 of these to write, and I am very busy doing all these other things, and I was worried I wasn't going to make it to the finish line. And so I asked for some help from one of my favorite writers on the Clone Wars, Charles Murray, who's a good friend of mine. And Charles, who was there with me and George, and so I know that he gets it. And Charles had asked a long time ago if he could direct an episode of Clone Wars. I said, well, you've never done animation, so that's kind of a tricky thing with our production schedule. But in this, I knew that we could control it better, and that they were shorter, and I could, when we actually executed these, I would be there to help Charles. And he did a fantastic job. He did one of the episodes about Dooku, and I'm so excited for him to share that with you eventually. Not today, but eventually. That'll be great. Charles did a great job.
Well, I think it's cool to hear, we talk about keeping things in the Star Wars family, that it's that way behind the scenes too, so folks you've worked with before.
Yeah, people get exposed to the types of stories we tell, and then they know they take it on. It's the master-apprentice, the mentor relationship, that they're a part of it, and that he was there with George is significant to me, because he heard these things directly from George. Because at the end of the day, I try to do what's best. I try to advise people as best I can, but I don't really know. I just give my best instinct on it and go for it, because none of us will be George. This is really unique to him, and it's his special galaxy that he created. But now it's our job to take care of it and to further it in ways that are exciting for the next generation. So that's what we try to do.
Character, I think we've definitely seen that happen with, is of course Ahsoka. So what can you tell us about Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi and what you're exploring with this character that you spent so much time with?
Well, I felt that there were some key things to know about her, and so I told 3 separate tales that span a large portion of her life. Things that I hadn't really gotten into, and I think George used to call these types of stories tone poems. I was experimenting very minimal dialogue and expression, but just trying to use visuals as a way to communicate the imagery and the story points. But what was fun about it was as I went through this little character study, I got to see some characters I hadn't seen in a while. And it means what's cool about that is it means I get to work with people that I also haven't seen in a while. So we were back in the Jedi Temple suddenly, and the next image is really cool. You'll get to see these 2 again, which is really
I just want to break our hearts some more. I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure.
Matt and James and Ashley have been so important to me over the years, and just to get together and tell these stories, even though they're shorts, of course they're going to be there for it, and so we had a fun time doing that. And then these aren't just fun. Are they fun, happy? I don't know. There's the next image. It gets rough at times. It gets dangerous at times.
You don't think you're known for telling fun, happy stories, do you?
What's that?
I said, you don't think you're known for telling fun, happy stories?
I don't know what kind of stories I'm known for telling. I hope they're happy.
Sometimes they are. Yeah,
it gets happy in the end.
People have to go through.
You're not going to be happy if you didn't overcome something possibly tragic along the way. Some of these are dark. Some of these I watch later and I'm like, wow, what was I doing? And I'm like, I was in lockdown like everyone else. I'm like, maybe that explains it. I don't know, but it got dark. One of them was Dooku, because I don't know if you know, that doesn't end out so well for him. So it was like, wow, where this goes is surprisingly tragic.
That's a headspace to be in that can have that effect.
Yeah, fun story.
How would you say these, stories with Ahsoka impact her future that we'll see? How did you connect those?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I just work on her whole history. So from what I did in the beginning and where I saw her when she first steps off that gunship, all the way to what Rosario and I are doing now. And as we kind of arc things targeting forward and where I think she needs to be. I ask a lot of questions. I whiteboard a lot of things, and I have certain plans, and then things change. I've been working on the Ahsoka series and the concept of it for a long time, before there was a Mandalorian show. I was trying to figure out a way to get that series going, and I was doing a lot of concepts with Doug Chang at the time, and he and I were playing back and forth on how do we translate these characters. And that's why the opportunity, when it came up, to get me engaged in live action. And again, I'll just say, Carrie Beck was, I think, the first one that saw when Jon Favreau's name had come across the table in the studio. She was like talking to Kathy and like, gotta get these 2 together because they know each other. This is really good. And Kathy B is like, yeah, this is a really good thing for just how it was all gonna work. So, that got John and I together talking, and he and I get along like 2 brothers. It's really fun. We have a great time, and he knew from day one that like one of my plans was to get Ahsoka going in live action, and but I had a lot to learn. You always have more to learn, and I didn't want to do it unless I could feel it was authentic to what I had been doing, and I didn't know if I'd be any good at live action. I didn't know. It's a totally different thing in so many ways. So there was a lot of work that needed to happen, and then at the same time, these stories existed, and I wanted to tell them. So I'm in a position to tell stories. People keep giving me money to do it, so I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, it's Star Wars. How am I not going to want to do it?
That's how you learn. And I like that, you talk about going to live action Ahsoka, and in the artwork we saw, we have small, very cute, very precious Ahsoka, and that you've got to go with her on that whole journey. Just melts my heart.
Where are we at in the panel, do you know?
I think, we've looked at a lot of amazing
Time for
artwork.
that thing.
I think it's time
Is
for
it time for that thing?
I think it's a time for
This is not like me. To do this.
It's
You're probably
really
surprised
not.
when I said we were going to do this.
I was shocked and
Right?
yes, it's not. I was really surprised. I was like,
So this-
okay.
This massive misdirect. So you won't ask me any other questions.
I don't
I don't
about
have
that
to answer
for a
any
while.
questions. Remember, I always tell you the best way you don't want to hear me explain Star Wars. The best way is just to see it. Let's just watch one of these. Watch an episode. And then we'll see what you think. So we'll watch one.
We'll watch one, yeah.
If you don't like it, I'll just put them on my shelf and watch them myself. But I like them. But if you don't, you judge for me, and then I'll know, and then we'll see what you think.
Okay, well, I do want to note this is a special treat just for everybody at Celebration, so please do not record this. Please put away your phones.
That's very good, thank you.
This video is proudly sponsored by SmallWorldVacations.com, authorized Disney vacation planners. Their team of knowledgeable agents have been creating the magic for over 20 years.
And they can book your next trip to Walt Disney World or on a galactic star cruiser.
I will warn you though, this is just how it goes. Like, as nice as that one is, it's sweet and kind and everything. There's a balance in the force, and there's some really dark ones. So I just don't want you to think that like, oh, my kids are gonna love these. And they will love them, they will love them. But there's like a lesson in here. There's good and bad, and it's just an exploration of that. But the important thing here was that with Ahsoka, something that I originally started out to write this short was going to be, it's finally going to make the when Plo Koon finds her. I was going to do that instead. But when I sat down to write it, it's like I started writing about her mom. And moms are so important. And I just felt that it was more important because we have not had a lot of that identity in Star Wars, the mother figure. And to show that Ahsoka's first experience with someone telling her, don't be afraid, is her mother. And so one thing I'll tell you, because you might ask me this, it's like when the little girl faces the giant creature, is she using the Force because no one's taught her how to? Or is she just not afraid? But how is that not the same thing? And that's all I'm asking you. So that's all. Little things. So, we could have brought one with more lightsabers, but you'll get to those. You guys brought the lightsabers today, and I love that, so anyway.
So I think, we have someone we should talk to specifically about this.
Yes, mother.
Yes, let's bring out the voice of Ahsoka's mother, the wonderful Janina Gavankar.
Hello, everyone. How beautiful was that?
So excited. I was worried for a little bit there, but it all turned out okay. Yes, thank you. You teed up my question. Thank you so much for the segue. Because Janina, of course, you're already part of the Star Wars galaxy as Iden Versio in Battlefront. And yes. So I'd love to hear how is this different? How did this opportunity come about? I want to know everything.
I got a call from a friend of mine, Dave Filoni, and he told me about this project. What are you gonna say? No? Come on, man. This isn't the first time that I've worked for you. Do you know what I'm gonna say right now?
Yeah, good. I know what you're gonna say, but
Okay. Do you guys remember that dock worker, the Mon Calamari, in that very iconic cable knit sweater? Do you remember that? How did you not? I puppeteered his nostrils. Do you remember this day on set? So that entire getup was made by and it was played by a friend of mine, Frank Ippolito, who I work with often, and he called me and he needed a second puppeteer to only do the nostrils to make him look more alive.
Gotta breathe, so.
Gotta breathe on that dock. And so there was a moment when I was like in a hallway at Mando, and they had to show him to you and John to make sure that he would pass the test, etc. And I was trying to like blend into the wall and just like be the wall because I was just there to support my friend, you know. But he just kept looking at me like.
No, you were there to be the nostrils. You weren't just supporting. You were actively breathing for the whole dock worker in that wonderful sweater.
Yes, that iconic.
I still don't know how he gets that sweater on. Because he's a big head.
There's snaps in the back.
I thought a lot about it.
Snaps in the back.
And his wife kind of like snaps him up, or husband, whatever. But anyway, point is, you know, that's the most beautiful, most unexpected part about being a part of Star Wars. I never saw coming was if you're just kind of down to have fun, you get roped into things along the way because it's a giant galaxy, but it's actually cared for by a very small village.
I
Yeah.
love that. So from Iden to, as I call him, Moncal Sweaterman's nostrils. That's what I call him, Moncal Sweaterman. Dave's like, please get off the stage.
No, not at all. I find it all fascinating. This is my celebration right now. I'm enjoying
Right here.
I love it. All of them. I mean, this is fun for me. We're not talking about anything spoilery, so I'm thrilled. We talk about that sweater all day. Talk about the nostrils, up, toggle down, be left, right, breathing, whatever. I'm like, yeah, all day.
Well, I'm making note of that for a future panel. But Janina, I would love to hear. Now Ahsoka's mom. So what did it mean to you to play? I mean, Ahsoka's a little bit iconic. So wow.
Well, you're not gonna get me. You're not gonna get me.
Well, because if I get you, I'll get myself. And that's just, yeah.
It's being a part of any of this is always emotional. I know everybody out there feels it. I could hear you listening to my little baby. I could hear the sounds you made. We all feel it. We all feel it together. But my question is more like, am I actually playing you? Like,
Yeah, what is this?
like you're
Ahsoka's
Ahsoka's
What an
parent.
interesting turn it's taken. I don't know.
But
I'm
like,
not
am I?
answering this question.
Is she
This is
sort
so
of
fascinating
like
to me.
spiritually?
This is going weird now.
As her,
This is a
as
strange
her like
quiz.
one of her creators, you birthed her.
I don't know what
Oh.
I don't know what you're saying. It's so fascinating. I don't know. How do we answer this question? I think that the cool thing though for me was that to play the mother of Ahsoka obviously is very important to me, and I was hoping it would be a great character, but behind it all had to be somebody that really cared. As simple as that. And you're such a fan, and my wife and I had talked about it. I was like, Annie, who could play this character? And Anne actually recommended Janina for it, and I'm like, wow, you're so right, because you care about Star Wars, and that's it. And obviously, you do care, and I think that that's important. Anybody we bring in to play these characters for Star Wars, I want them to feel it. I want it to be important to them because it's important to everybody here. And I know that whether John and I are there or not, or Brad, Jen, and I, or whoever's creating these stories, the actors will take care of the characters, and we've seen that again and again throughout the saga. And I think that from the beginning, no one set that example better than like Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Harrison, and the way they took care of that image over the years. And still do. And Peter Mayhew, who was always at these conventions long before they became this big, and Anthony Daniels, they turned up, they showed up for everybody. And I want people that want to show up and be here for everybody.
Yeah, and you can feel it. You specifically, he can sort of sniff out who's there just to like be a part of a Star Wars or to actually do what's right for the galaxy. You can tell. I've seen you.
The little Jedi Council of One.
Yeah.
Trust you, I do not.
It's like, away you go. I don't know. Who knows? But I don't know. See how
That's
I got
my
away
favorite.
from your other topic? It was like bending the force. It's good. What else you got over there? What's going on? I can't wait to see what happens next.
No, well, I was going to ask Janina. We've talked. Ahsoka is so well known, and by the way, Ahsoka's mom, like they have the same nose. That really got that of all things got me. I couldn't. But we know Ahsoka's voice. Were there any specific Ahsoka scenes or episodes that you went back to help create the voice for Ahsoka's mom?
No.
That's such a good answer.
It's true.
I love the way you did that. It was so
Why would
sweet.
I?
No.
When people leave their home.
That's an answer I give a lot.
when people, I mean, I'm sure there's people here, right? Like if you grew up in a different country and you moved, you don't sound the same as where you were born. That's exactly what has happened with Ahsoka. Just because she was born on Sheely doesn't, that's how we sound on Sheely, right? Like that is, and you chose what they sound like. You talked to me
I'm not
extensively
even
about that.
hear that, Sheila.
Is it not?
I don't know. I don't deal in absolutes, so I don't know that that's absolutely where that was. I'm not defining that. See how I'm doing that? See how I bend like a reed in the wind. I will teach you, Padawan, don't worry. I say a lot, but very little.
Alright, so we sound this way in this village.
On whatever, on some place in the galaxy.
See, you think you know something, and then you learn very quickly that there is more.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, but that's why, right? I mean, I would be lying if I, now that I've done this with you, like everything that I see happening with her in your show it feels like, wow, she did good. You know, like she's out there living so well.
Yeah, Ahsoka's mom set her on the right path. Well, and is this, when you first saw the art and the short, Janina, of this is you, it's happening, how did you feel?
Well, that stuff, it's like, all of this stuff that happens, it happens before I even see it, because I don't know if if anyone out there plays role-playing games or is an actor or has theater, yeah, right? So I play a lot of D&D as well, but even all of those characters, all of the characters that I've been, even in those adventures, are just so real to me, and they live, and they have lives, and they are different people, but they're real, and I don't need to see it to believe it, right? So I actually, when I got to watch it, I watched it like sitting cross-legged in his living room. I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. So I don't get emotional then. I get emotional about being a part of a collective of humans that care so deeply to make something small and quiet and special and new in the galaxy, right? We have a bunch of big fancy movies and television shows coming, but something like this is so minimalistic and so quiet and reserved that it's different. And like we've said, it's a big, big galaxy, y'all. There's space for so many more things than we've just seen so far in different mediums. That's what is the most exciting.
You make such a good point that it is this quiet moment with Ahsoka when she's so small, and it's so powerful. And Dave, I'd love to hear, you got to, we got a slice of Togruta culture there and what it was like to explore that aspect of Ahsoka's history.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, pictured a little town in the mountains. I don't know why, and I like pine trees, and I just make this.
But are they pine trees? Because that's an absolute. So I feel like
I don't
we should.
know. They're probably, trees of a sort. And then this tale, I don't know, there were just things, I usually write the things I like. I remember talking to Kathleen Kennedy one day, and I said, why do you make the movies you make? And she said, I just make the movies I want to see. And that's the best answer I've ever heard. That's so cool, that makes so much sense. So I make stories I want to see. And I wanted to see the story about these characters, and I work with such amazing artists in the animation division, and they're so great at coming up with details, and we would talk about, all of the richness and the little civilization and the houses, and a lot of it, obviously, my life has been influenced by Miyazaki and his creativity and the type of pacing that he has. It's a little slower, but it's so rich in detail. It's always fascinating, and I just find it so interesting to be challenged by that. We studied it on Airbender. It's been part of something influencing for a long time, and so that was part of it. And just Kevin's music, Kevin Kiner does the music for this as well, and giving him space to creatively fill in this. When the little squirrel shows up, I love that little theme he has in there, and it feeds the rest of what I'm gonna do. I'll say, I don't know. It's like I could sit here. This is I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it. But I could just sit here and watch all of them with you. But we don't have the room rented that long, so we can't. I know. Don't blame me. But I know, one more, but then it becomes one more, and it becomes one. Then we'll watch them all.
Yeah.
And then I know. See, I took it that way. See how it went.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Scary.
Good. Wow.
Yeah. I will not watch what I know.
No, but you must be patient like a Jedi would watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, to see more.
I cannot allow your emotions to move me.
Unless apparently you're a small child, and then if you come up and ask.
Well, that's just tough.
But I did
Look
want
at
to, you
this.
talked about
Just seeing this now, like just a giant thing above our head.
look at this little baby girl.
Oh my gosh, and their giant eyeballs.
I know, and little mantras, and we talked earlier about how the animations come along, and it's gorgeous. You can tell. I was telling Dave, you can see every blade of grass, like the detail and the facial expressions. So what was it like to work back together with animation to work closely on this?
It was great working with the team. We all work more remotely now, and so we would be, finding ways to communicate. Athena Portillo holds all of that together so well. She is an amazing producer, and it was a chance too. We have a lot of new people working on the Bad Batch, and so I got to work with them and kind of show them a little bit of what I learned from George. And it's just helping tie the tradition together, because I want there always to be these animated shows, and they have to feel authentic. They have to feel like they're part of Star Wars, because we have, all of you that I think that's what you've come to expect, and I don't want the quality ever to drop. And it was just really fun to go in and see what they can do now. They've developed the technology. When you look back to 2008, when the movie came out, and what that looks like, what I can honestly say, what George and I were always trying to do is the way it looks now. But if you don't ever jump in, if you don't push that technology, if you don't do it, you don't just try to do it, you do it, you'll get somewhere. And it's not always maybe as successful as you like. I love that the animation is always proving its learning curve as you go, because nothing's ever just perfect when it begins. It has to evolve, and you do your best, and then you do better, and you learn, and that's true in so many walks of life. And so working with them in this and seeing how talented that group is, that they could bring these stories to life, and the richness that they did, and in the very most honest level, it's just nice to see those guys. I worked with them for over a decade on everything, and now I'm split between live action stuff, animation stuff, and I'm back and forth a lot and all over the place. And it's just nice to see these people, because they're significant to me, because I don't get to do what I'm doing now in live action without them. It just doesn't happen. So I hope
All the warm and fuzzy feelings. And I see what you did, by the way. We have Grogu, of course, adorable. Baby Ahsoka, that might give Grogu run for his money.
I don't know, that little guy, he's amazing, hiding under that table all that time.
Well, now I'm just realizing.
Kind of weird, but cool, I guess.
I'm just realizing, I saw a few babies with some Grogu business, little hoodies, but now there can be some Ahsoka babies.
Yeah, but I just gotta say, the original was Rada. And I just feel like he gets the short end of the slug. He was cute in his own way, Rada. Maybe he'll make a comeback somehow, I don't know. Who knows? He's the original little baby. I remember people used to carry him around in a backpack, and you're like, oh. It wasn't like Grogu, where you're like, oh, poor Rada.
I just kept thinking about what's the inside of that backpack like? Is it?
I don't know, but I know Anakin didn't clean it. There's no way he'd do that. I don't know, what do we call him, Stinky?
Stinky.
Wow, that's a long time ago. And it's far, far away.
Oh, I do miss Rada. Now I'm just thinking about cute things in Star Wars, and I could be here all day.
So many cute things. Keep them coming, right? Because the truth is, it's like that's one of the most beautiful things also, is like just family stories. There's just generational family stories as we keep going, and that's how we experience it as well, right? We've seen it when we were children, then we have children, we get to show it to them, and then it's just hopefully gonna go on for generations to come, so more cute things!
If you're saying this though, I'm picturing the other shorts. And had I chosen to show a Dooku short today, I don't think we'd be talking about all the cute things in Star Wars. I think we'd be talking about something else. We'd be like going, whoa, that was rough. I didn't know that was I know it was gonna happen, but I didn't know it was gonna happen like that. And then you'll be like, why, Dave? And I'm like, well, you know why, don't you know why? And you're like, yeah, you'll see what I mean, and you'll know why later. And you'll be like, wow, and I'll be like, yeah, it's the next celebration. That was something else. But if you wouldn't be talking about the cute.
Basically, before the next celebration, keep a running list of topics for Dave that you need to have.
Just take a few notes, remember what you want to ask me for next celebration, and we might get to it.
Yeah. Keep any notes when you were...
The great thing is nobody ever asked me about the stuff that came out. Everybody wants to know about what's going to come out. But you know what I think that means? We told the story well, so they don't have any questions. You guys just get it,
You just get it.
Maybe.
But...
You know what? You know what's interesting about that? I know.
So mean. Wow. Okay, well, on that note, maybe we should wrap up with something you can share. That is another treat again to please keep your phones down.
Huh?
But I think we have a little something else.
Keep them down.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we do have something else. I totally forgot about that. And it gives a lot away. Have you seen
I
it?
have not, actually.
All right, it's a trailer for this whole thing.
Thank you all so much for coming. Please give these two, this is Janina and Dave, a round of applause. Thank you all so much for being here, and we look forward to Return of the Jedi in the fall. Thank you.
Okay. Woo!
Yaddle's back.
What did you think of Tales of the Jedi? What did you think? Oh my God! Pickle! Woo!
Hey, look at those names to the left. They are part of the Skywalking Force, our Patreon.
Become a producer yourself and check out all the Disney Plus themed bonus content available depending on the level you subscribe.
Become a member of the elite Skywalking Force at skywalkingforce.com.